Hello, friends. My name is Jenny Disa, your host for this evening. I am a senior manager at Aleph, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 91st Career Talk, broadcasted live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the valuable speaker to discuss the topics that is important to you and for your career. So, for the benefits of our viewers, let me quickly introduce you to Aleph. Aleph is an award winning education company, counseled over 23,000 students, and is also awarded top 10 study abroad consultants by Knowledge Review. To us, you will have the option of 200 plus universities across 14 plus countries. We specialize in student scholarship and up till now distributed 23 crore scholarship to our students. So, without any further delay, apology from me since you've been waiting to look forward to this topic today. Let's move on with our today's topic, MBA in Canada, 3 years degree acceptable. So, this is a very exciting topic. I'm sure most of you all might be awaiting and looking forward to this discussion. To discuss this exciting subject, we have with us an expert speaker. Let me do the honor of introducing him to you.
Hello everyone, this is Zoe from UCW.
Hi, Zohib. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Pleasure to be here.
Sure. Mr. Zohib Majid is a business development executive for University Canada West, Vancouver. Zohib has been in the industry for the last 8 years and has been previously worked as a mentor, curator, and co-hosting conferences with teams from Harvard, UCLA, UC Berkeley, University of Pennsylvania, and UN Body. Worked with worked in B2C, B2B, and marketing division of various edtech company. So, wow, Zohib, welcome to the session today, and I'm sure you're going to share some exciting and informative details with our students.
Absolutely, ma'am. I'm excited about what's in store for us in this show.
Great, great. To all our viewers, if you have any question, please feel free to write in the comment and we will try to address as we progress. So let's begin with the session. MBA in Canada. So Zohaib, before I start with my first question to you, MBA is quite a demanding program in Asian and Indian market specifically, be it a student from an engineering background or the traditional BCom, BMS, and a arts background. What is you know uh, uh, how could you define an MBA to our student, because Canada is pretty equally popular for graduate certificate and PG diploma. So could you
Correct.
help us differentiate this?
Sure. So I get this question a lot from students as what is the difference between an MBA and a PGDM? Apart from telling you the duration and the eligibility and everything, I would say a PG diploma, it could be a specialization in a particular field or a particular domain. For example, if you want to become a software engineer, you can do a PG diploma in machine learning or AI and become an expert in that particular domain, right? In simple words, an MBA will teach you how to run a company, right? So MBA is not about doing an MBA and then finding a job. It's about it will teach you how to run different aspects, different departments of a company as such, right? So that's why it's more in demand. Like if you see a lot of companies, if they want to promote someone, they always look at if the person has done MBA. So that's a very important criteria. Coming to the duration, a diploma is usually for a year, like what's a lot of students prefer in Canada. They don't want to study much. They say, "Okay, I'll just study for 1 year and then figure out things later on." An MBA is usually for 2 years until unless you're going for an executive MBA, which is 1 year. But that's very rare, and that's very competitive out there. But usually an MBA is for 2 years, and if you're looking at long term, in a long term way about Canada, as a PR, or you want to settle down in Canada, I would definitely recommend an MBA, because most of the colleges offer a 2+3 program, which means that you do 2 years of MBA and then you get 3 years of work permit. So during that time, you can apply for PR or whatever your goal is when you go to Canada. So that's the basic
Great,
difference,
great.
I would say, in simple words, So
Okay.
that's so, yeah.
Yeah, just to extend what Zoheb has mentioned, I would put it in a way a PG certificate or a diploma would be a half cooked MBA, whereby maybe you study, the basic skills in management or a particular specialization, whereby an MBA is more a wholesome learning, whereby you acquire all the administrative expertise at the same time the specialization core that you're taken up. So it's very advanced and highly advanced in comparison to a certificate or a diploma course. So students who are aiming to maybe pursue, or aiming to look forward to a leadership roles in near future could look at pursuing MBA.
Yes, absolutely. MBA is all about making leaders, making the future leaders in the corporate world. So that's
Sure.
why you see more companies looking out for MBA students.
Sure, sure. So, UCW, University Canada West, is a very popular MBA destination, a B school. So, Zoe, would you represent UCW to our student and friends, watching this session today?
Sure. So UCW is a private university, and the focus of the university was to be accessible to all kinds of students. Irrespective of what background you come from, whether come from a graphic designing background, or you've done something in hospitality or tourism, or you come from a tech background or a management background, any background that you come from, UCW accepts all kinds of students. And one more thing, UCW, what like the main another goal of UCW was to make sure there is diversity. So we want to make sure that we have at least 90 plus students from 90 plus countries, and a class size of, let's say, 30 students. Because what UCW wants is, since it's kind of, Canada is a country of diversity, you have people from multiple, like, European nations, South Asian countries. We want
Sure.
to create an environment where you learn not just from the curriculum, but also from the network, from the people who you're studying with, right? So which is why what UCW did was, they came up with a very simple and, very accessible eligibility criteria, so that anyone, irrespective of how much you've, like, scored in your previous academics and all, you should feel UCW, okay, you know what, I can go and finish my MBA, and also look at further career opportunities after that. So as a whole, UCW is a private university, but what we strive to become is our curriculum will match all the public universities that are out there in Canada. So that's
One.
one thing we are very proud of. So in a nutshell, yeah, that's, yeah, UCW for students.
Yeah, so it's a boutique university with a very personalized approach. Could you share more highlight in terms of its accreditations and the location, and what are other aspects of UCW MBA program?
Sure. So, like, this is for students. Like, whenever you select a college, right? You want to go to a particular college. Always look at the accreditations. Because you're going to a different country, you need to understand if that degree is going to hold a value, right? So, UCW has close to, I think, 9 accreditations, but the one I'm going to talk about is the ACBSP accreditations, which means that the MBA that you do at UCW is going to be accepted all around the world, like,
Absolutely.
irrespective of whichever country you go to, that MBA degree is going to hold value in your CV itself, right? Talking about our location, we have two locations. Both are in downtown Vancouver. Now, the advantage of having a campus in that particular location is that the students find a lot of part-time jobs near the campus itself, right? So, like, after college, they can just go and, do the part-time job or whatever, they do after college. And even the accommodation for students is within a half an hour to 45-minute distance. So there are multiple options for students. Like, I'm talking about, like, in terms of a student lifestyle in Vancouver. Like, you have part-time jobs nearby, you have accommodation as well. So that's the advantage of our prime location, I would say. Yeah.
Great, great. So, as Zoheb mentioned, the accreditation matters. Just to add up to this, UCW is also QS rated university, 5-star rating, which also embarks the quality of education, the curriculum, and the infrastructure it offers to the student. So I'm sure when you come to UCW, you're going to experience it hands on. So moving on to my next question, Zoe, what are the specialization within MBA that student can choose to pursue at UCW?
Right. So in majority of the MBA colleges, you'll find specializations like marketing, HR, finance, which is like the common in majority of the colleges, right? Apart from that, what we have is UCW focuses on careers that have a very, a growing trend in the market, So which is why what we did was we added specializations like digital marketing, because digital marketing has one of the highest number of jobs in the country and around the world as well, right? The another specialization that we added was business analytics, because this is the stage when business analytics is going to take a boom, and every manager in the future needs to know how to analyze a certain set of data. So that will
Right.
become a mandatory skill, or a specialization for someone to have, right? Apart from that, we also, like I said, UCW is very, we want to do it in a very personalized manner, like create a a friendly, not a student friendly curriculum for people like coming from different backgrounds, right? So we also have something called entrepreneurship. Like a lot of people will be like, okay, I want to move to Canada, I'll finish my MBA, start my own business, do a startup, because compared to India, it's the overall regulations and the market in Canada, it's comparatively easier to start your own company in Canada, so there are a lot of students who are interested in that. And another thing that we try to do was add something in the social space, where there are a lot of students who want to start their own company in the social sector. So we have a specialization in that as well. So apart from marketing, finance, and HR, these are the specializations that we have. So that, and the specialization are kept are designed keeping in mind the job market in Vancouver right now. So Vancouver has multiple industries, so we want to
Absolutely.
keep those kind of specializations. So it's, once the student finishes the program, it's easier for them to go out and find a job. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so it should be, your degree should be relevant to the market outside. Otherwise, it's difficult to find a job that way.
Absolutely. So I believe with the specialization, the traditional one as well as the modern one, like business analytics, entrepreneurship, and the social one are hot program and desiring program by most of the student who are inquiring with us as well. So absolutely, UCW is doing wonderful job. Helping desired student meeting with the industry need as well.
Right. That was the
Yeah.
goal. That was the end goal. Like be relevant to the market. Otherwise, it becomes difficult in a new country. When you move to a new country. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So, moving on to my next question. See, in India or Asia, basically, we have an understanding coming to Canada means that you need to have a 16 or years of education in terms of degree. While most of the traditional BMS, BA, BSc programs are a 3 years of qualification, and therefore most students end up pursuing graduate certificate even if they wish to pursue an MBA or a master's course. So with today's topic, MBA in Canada, 3 years degree acceptable, how would you enlighten our student having 3 years degree to come to UCW? How is
yeah,
it
so like
possible?
like I mentioned in the start itself, that UCW wants to be accessible to all kinds of students. So when UCW invites, when we do a recruitment, when we give offer letters, when we invite our students, right, we look at the education system on each and every country. Like I'll tell you one example, like something simple as that, someone who has graduated from Delhi University, it takes them 2 years to get the certificate, but UCW knows that, right? Which is why we don't pester the students saying, what, like, give your degree, otherwise we're not going to allow you to sit in the class, right? So in that way,
Correct.
what UCW understood was India being like one of the major markets, not just in terms of like the number of students, but also in terms of the quality of students, because our education system is tough. Our education is comparatively very tough, mentally and emotionally as well, for students. So UCW understood how the education system in this particular country works, or how it works in, let's say, some European country, which is a completely different curriculum, right? Which is
Yeah.
why they said, "Hey, you know what, like, we'll accept it, like that shouldn't be an issue. Let's say if don't do 16 years of education, not a problem, we'll accept you as such. And also we UCW, another thing I just want to add, UCW also accepts students who have done correspondence or distance education,
Wow.
right? Right. So like I mentioned, like we want to be accessible, we want to give this opportunity to each and every student, irrespective of what education you've done as such, right? Because we feel that,
Absolutely.
because we are very confident that once you do an MBA at UCW, you're going to learn a lot of things and it's going to add value to your CV. So so that's why we accept all kinds of educational background, or whatever certificates they have as such.
Great. So it's not just education without borders, but it's also education without restriction. Hence,
Right.
could you give us more brief on how they qualify for an MBA with a foundation to get an entry accordingly?
With the foundation program.
Yes, yes.
Okay, right. So
So if
what?
explain 3 years, this degree will allow them with a foundation entry. If you could share a
Right,
light
right,
on
right.
this.
Done.
Yeah.
Right. So what UCW understood, like, since our curriculum is at par with all the public universities in Canada, it's very, I would say, it's challenging as well. Let's say if you're coming from, let's say, a graphic designing background or a hospitality, or you've done distance education, right? We want to make sure that before you sit in the class, you are like mentally and like physically prepared, like with all the knowledge and everything before you start your MBA program, right? Because when you start your MBA program, there are certain basic fundamental theories and some certain what do you call topics that you need to know as a student before you join an MBA. Because let's say you join graduation, okay, first year is going to be very easy, second year slightly more difficult, third year extremely difficult, right? So in MBA you don't have that much time, to go easy and then go to a medium difficulty level and then go to an extreme level, right? So in that way, what we try to do is we give you a 3-month foundation program. Now in the it's like a preparatory MBA program. In that foundation, what happens is we cover the basic aspects of economics, statistics, and a lot of management theories, which a student, let's say from a BTech background or a technical background, may not be aware of, right? Because let's say if someone is coming from BTech background, he has no idea what is happening in economics, right? I mean, like, he'll not understand basic, certain graphs or certain topics which he needs
Yeah.
to know to finish our assignment, right?
Got it.
So which is why what we did was we came up with two criterias. If the student meets any one of these criterias, the MBA foundation doesn't apply. The student can
Okay.
directly start their MBA, right? The first criteria being if the student has scored 72% and above in their BBA or BCom. All
Okay.
right. So in that way, in that case, we understand the student already has scored well, so he has enough knowledge. So we don't need to give him a preparatory program. The second criteria is if the student has 3 years of managerial experience, irrespective of any field. Like he can be a manager in a software company, but it has to be 3 years, and the student has to showcase a lot of leadership, leadership roles and leadership experiences on the CV. So if the student meets any one of these criteria, the foundation doesn't apply, right? But
Wonderful.
it's and there are a lot of students who come back to us saying, "Ki, thank God I did foundation, otherwise I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to finish these assignments. It's actually needed, right?" So that's the entire situation with foundation.
Absolutely. So for the brighter lot of 72 and above, and someone who's had a managerial experience can directly come for an MBA program. Rest of you'll have no disappointment. You'll have a foundation degree, which is very crucial 3 months term, whereby the school prepares you to finally, get successfully, migrated to the original MBA program and graduate successfully. Yeah, Zohair.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Thank you so much with this exciting information. Any other requirement in terms of GRE, GMAT, or fresh student needs to have a mandatory
Right.
experience? Yeah,
Right. So, talking about our eligibility criteria for students,
yeah,
again, I treat like on the fact that it's accessible to all kinds of students. The
yeah.
eligibility criteria in terms of your percentage that you've scored in your previous academics is 55%. All right. There are very few colleges in Canada that accept students who have scored, let's say, 55 or 60%,
Correct.
right? That's one. The second thing is you need to write your IELTS, academic IELTS, and you need to score 6.5 overall and not less than 6 in writing. It's okay if you have like something else, lower score in reading or in speaking, but it cannot be less than 6 in writing. All right. Let's say you score, less than 6, or you don't meet the criteria in terms of our IELTS score, right? We have another language program for you, another 3-month language program. So you do not have to worry, like in case you score less. But what I recommend, if you score less, write again and try to score well, because that improves your visa chances as well. So
Absolutely.
that's what I recommend from my end. And talking about our GRE, GMAT score, we don't need you to write any GRE or GMAT. Like, we don't want to put that mental pressure on you. Like, you can just write your IELTS, show your percentage, and we'll get you the offer letter that way, right? And apart from that, even maths is not required. Let's say if you've not chosen maths in your previous in your graduation or in your 10th or 12th, it's not a requirement. And also, in terms of work experience, we have people who have 20 years of work experience. We also have freshers who are just right out of college, so
Wow.
we have that's why we have students aged from like 22 years, and that goes up till 55 years. So
Wow.
that's why it's accessible to everyone, that way.
Very nice. So I believe, as Zoeb mentioned, it's not a high requirement that is being asked from student. I think majority of us could get 55 and above percentage, and even IELTS, the standard requirement. And hence, I don't see any hesitation if you're looking for a master or an MBA degree to pursue in Canada. Do come to UCW, connect with us on a helpline number, and we help you with the next intake application as soon as possible. So, Zoe, moving on. I mean, it's getting very exciting. Moving on to my next question. The nearest intake would be April. However, in case students don't make up to the April intake, what are the next intakes, or are there multiple intakes? Are there limited seats? Yeah.
Mhm. So UCW has 4 intakes in a year, and that's January, April. Like, we are just about to, close our enrollments for April, and then we have July, and then we have October, right? So, like, any time of the year, whenever you feel ready, you're ready with your application and everything. You'll have like some intake, 3 months or 4 months down the line, which you can apply. And right now we have just started our recruitment for July intake. So this has just started, and we expect to close all the seats by April 24th. Like it
Okay.
like it's because of the number of applications that have increased for UCW, we are able to fill all our seats in the span of like 2 months for every intake. And this has been happening from the last October 2021. So, like, I would say the sooner you apply, the better, so that because we give seats on first come first serve basis, right? So yeah, the sooner you apply, the sooner you contact ma'am. That's the best option then. Yeah.
Great, great. So, student, I think a lot of students are applying for September intake for a graduate certificate, and Canada is already closed. But look at UCW, we are still taking student for July intake. Hurry up! I'm sure you might have your IELTS score ready, and we can help you with the steps. So, Zoe, moving on to my next question. Are there
Sure.
any scholarship? Yeah, student have decided now, he's excited. Let me come to UCW. Is there any scholarship on, student having a good grades, or otherwise an admission call scholarship?
Sure. So we have multiple scholarships for multiple regions around the world. Like, there are separate scholarships for India, separate for Southeast Asia. So we have two primary scholarships for Indian students. The very first being that if the student has scored 82% and above, right, they get a scholarship between $6,000 and goes up till $10,000, depending on the profile and the score, right? And for example, if the student has scored, let's say, 7 overall in IELTS and not less than 6.5, they get a scholarship between $2,000 goes up till $4,000. Depending on the how much they've scored. If they've scored, yeah, more than 7, that's even better, better scholarship chances. So these are the
Of
two
course.
primary scholarships that we offer. Considering that the MBA at UCW is one of the cheapest MBA that is out there in Canada. So in spite of being the cheapest MBA, we still have scholarship options for our Indian students as well.
Correct, correct. I mean, in terms of affordability and combined with scholarship, I think it would be a reasonable, you know, package for the student to come and study at UCW. Zohib, if you could also mention the fees, so student get an idea about the expenses that they need to cater to coming to UCW. I'm sure it would be, a surprisingly affordable one.
Ma'am, it's definitely is. It's definitely is a surprising one. Even when I got to know, I was surprised. Like, okay, that actually exists in Canada, right? So talking about a fees, like if you look at any other fees in Canada, it starts from, let's say, 35 lakhs, goes up till 60 lakhs, right? So when you're
Yeah,
doing an MBA, always look at the return on investment. How much money
yeah,
you're putting in your MBA program, and how much return are you going to get in the next 3-4 years, right? If it is a big amount, it'll take you like another 10 years to get that return on investment, you know
correct.
so like, yeah, considering that our MBA program at UCW costs between 22 to 23 lakhs for a 2-year program, depending if you have foundation or anything else. So it'll definitely come under between 22 to 23 lakhs, and that's for 2 years. If you get a scholarship, let's say, of $6,000, which is like, I think, what, 3 lakhs, close
Yeah.
to 3 lakhs, I think. Yeah. So 22 minus 3 lakhs, that is 19 lakhs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the average. If you look at top 20 colleges in India, like, you'll anyways end up paying 15 to 20 lakhs for sure. Whether
Absolutely.
you take a Symbiosis or any other college, right? So all the people who are looking at PR as a long term goal, right? They want to make minimum investment, at the same time get a very decent return once they get placed after the MBA. So 22 lakhs will be comparatively much easier to recover once you get a job, compared to, let's say, if you pay, let's say, 60 lakhs or 70 lakhs, which a lot of some which top colleges in Canada charge. So looking at that, I would say look at return on investment, and also look at the long term, because it's a one time investment. You can't make that investment again. You can't do MBA again and again.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense.
yeah.
So that's why I would say, yeah, choose the right one, which makes more sense, and financially.
Absolutely, a QS, 5-star rated university, ACCBS accredited university with a scholarship up to 10K, based in Vancouver, and a boutique university. What more can one ask for? So, student, please hurry up, get in touch with us on a helpline number, and we help you reach UCW as soon as possible. So, Zoheb, moving on to my next questions for you. I mean, this is quite a question we keep on getting. I want to come to Toronto while UCW is based in Vancouver. Toronto is quite an hub. So, what are the advantages that you can highlight on that student might not be aware, of the benefits of studying in and around Vancouver?
Sure. Yeah. So Toronto, like, everyone looks at Toronto because this is, there are more number of job opportunities that are out there, right? But when you select a particular college and a particular city, to move in, you always have to look at the career opportunities that are out there.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
so Toronto, I would say it's very competitive. It's a very competitive. It's a fast-paced market. Like, for example, the way you have Mumbai, which is a very fast-paced city. That's Toronto, right?
Yeah.
It's all about business. It's very competitive. There are job opportunities, but there are certain industries that are very big in Toronto. Let's say
Hmm.
IT. One is finance,
Hmm.
right? If you are in these two particular fields, I would say Toronto would be one of the good options for sure. Coming to Vancouver, right? In terms of the job growth, right, the trend that they've seen, Vancouver has the second best job growth, in job opportunities growth in Canada on the whole. So what they predict is, in the next 6 years, until 2028, Vancouver is going to have 9 lakh jobs,
Wow.
and there are only 4.5 lakh people who are skilled enough to take up those roles. So all you need to do is go to Canada, go to Vancouver, learn that particular skill, whether it's management field or some other field, and you'll be eligible for a job. There are opportunities that are out there. And the second best thing about Vancouver is, like I said, Toronto is more focused on finance and IT. Vancouver has multiple industries. Vancouver has close to 10 different industries. Let's say hospital, hospital, what do you call, tourism, hospitality, warehousing, manufacturing, Then you have IT, finance. I mean, that's the usual, that's the common ones, traditional ones. So you have multiple industries that are out there, and they are growing. Like there are companies like Amazon, Deloitte, who've opened office in Vancouver because it's definitely it's the second best city to live in, right?
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of companies who are opening their offices in Vancouver. So in that way, and in terms of the industry, I would say Vancouver has way better job opportunities compared to Toronto. And also Toronto is competitive. Here, like if you're first, like say if you move to Vancouver first, you'll have opportunities, multiple opportunities.
Great.
So that's the difference between, like, I know Toronto is the hype. Toronto, like, people want to move to Toronto, right? But Vancouver is like the unexplored option, where but not a lot of people consider it. Because
Yeah, yeah,
people think it's expensive. Yeah, the city is expensive, but at the same time, your salary is higher compared to other
absolutely.
provinces,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like, for example, like, just to add like one last thing, the average, the daily wage, the per hour wage that the students get when they do part time in other provinces is $11, 11.10 or $11, if I'm not wrong. In Vancouver, it's $15.
Absolutely. Okay.
So it's
That's
expensive city, but at the same time, you'll be paid well. You'll be taken care of. That's why it's called the second best city, because people are happy. People are very
you're right.
happy with everything. So
You're
yeah.
right. I mean, just like, people come to Bombay, of course, but people also go to Delhi and Bangalore,
Right.
other major places. At the same time, I understand Vancouver also has a beautiful weather, uh, in comparison,
Yeah.
especially in
Yep.
cold winters. And it is also known as, residence for richer class of people wanting to stay in, of course, because of the expense as well, as you mentioned. And student, of course, while you're studying, enjoy the surrounding, enjoy Vancouver. And when you're definitely applying for job, you're not only restricted to Vancouver, you can apply to any part of the country. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. So moving on to my last question to you, Zohair. What are the career support options that UCW offers to students? Is there a career fair or a center? If you can please highlight on this.
Sure. Thank you for asking me that question. I really want to cover that aspect about UCW. So UCW is very proud to say that, like last year as well, like students who were studying on campus, we have a placement rate of 96.9% in our MBA batch. Right
Wow.
now, what we do is, apart from organizing career fairs, and then there are placements, campus interviews, and all, we also have a separate department called the Career Development Center. Now, what these guys do is, when you move from India to Canada, you have to modify your CV. Your same CV is not going to work in Canada, you know,
Correct.
right? And what they do is they help you prepare your CV. They'll tell you how to prepare for interviews in Canada, because their questions are different. They
Yeah.
have different ways of screening as well, and they also tell you what are the things you need to improve on your CV to become job ready in Vancouver, right? Apart from that, we also have our connects with around 72 different companies who come for placements. That includes companies like Amazon, Deloitte, Apple, SAP, Johnson and Johnson. So you have MNCs, you have medium-sized companies, and you also have startups. So we have all kinds of companies that come for placements. So our career development center is going to take care of you. Whatever you need. But the only my request is, you need to take the initiative. You need to go and talk to them, right? If you sit in your classes and then you go back to your room, it's not going to help you end of the day, right? So as once you go and talk to them, they're going to tell you, how to network in Canada, how to prepare your LinkedIn profile, which is very crucial when you apply for a job, right? So they're going to guide you with everything, as long as you're proactive. You know, you're proactive. You ask them for help, and they will help you. Find the right job for you. And in terms of our salary packages, like what our MBA students get, that ranges from starting from 60,000 Canadian dollars per annum, goes up till 140,000 Canadian dollars, depending on the profile you have, depending how your interview goes, depending on how you negotiate your salary. So depending on all those, so this is the range that we have. So the worst case scenario is you're going to get like a $60,000 dollar package in Vancouver, and that's, I mean, you can score. I'm sure a lot of you can get much more, a much bigger package than that. So yeah, so that's the overall, the career support that we offer to our students.
Sure. So I think this is very interesting. Student definitely look forward to career support, especially coming from India, because they have the idea of, having a campus recruitment and such support. So in terms of preparing the student, and also with the statistic of, the student being placed already, and the type of companies that come to UCW shows the reflects maybe the quality of the education and the student that graduate from UCW. So I'm pleased to hear all this information, and I'm sure the student watching this have received the insight on the MBA program in whole. And in case student, if you have more question to us, please come back to us. And with this, I end the session. Zohib, last word of advice or anything that you wish to add before I close?
I think the only thing I would want to add is like, and I was a student like a couple of years back as well, like, like 7, 8 years back, even I was a student, right? Whenever you take a decision, it's very important that you act upon it immediately,
Yeah. Yeah.
because of the current situation in the world, where you feel anything can happen, like from a
Yeah.
pandemic to a war, or like a lot of things. If you take a decision on your career, just go ahead with it, like because I've seen a lot of students who have done, like their MBA online completely, like and I was like, yeah, I mean when you think about it, I should have done my MBA earlier, before all this happened. So when you make a decision, like just act upon it, file your application, go for it. Like, do not wait for any perfect moment. There is no perfect moment as such, that way,
The
right?
perfect
So
moment is now, as you said, Zohib.
right. So it's now, like, you feel like UCW is the way to go for it. Get in touch with ma'am, get all your documents together, and we will help you out. We will help you build a career in Canada. So do not worry about that. And all the very best to everyone who's watching, to all the students who are out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zohid. Thank you all for joining me today. And thank you, speaker, once again for the insightful information and conversation. If any of our listeners seek further information, please feel free to contact us on a helpline number 9987099890, or visit our website www.alif.in. Our experienced counselors will be happy to assist you instantly. My name is Jenny Disa from Alif, signing off with the promise to come back again and on next Friday at 5 p.m. with another interesting topic. And see you soon. Thank you so much. Until then, stay safe and stay excited. Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.